I hope that you guys are enjoying my mustache as much as I am. I think my upper lip hair, it gets darker and darker as time goes on, and we enjoy that. We appreciate that. We thank the good Lord for giving us what we have always desired, a mustache. I don't know why women are ashamed of things that they are, and I don't know why men are ashamed of things that they are. But people should be ashamed of things that they do, especially if those things are wrong. Like, I can't even imagine, because I've had several friends of mine that have had abortions, and it's something that they don't talk about. I'm like the only person that knows about it. It's funny, because I'm like against it, but they felt comfortable to tell me that. Well, I'm also, like, just because I think it's wrong doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to talk to you, you know. Like, I've done a lot of fucked up shit in my life. I used to steal shit, you know. I stole all kinds of shit. Money, drugs, alcohol. Never stole like, jewelry or TVs or stereos or anything like that. I wasn't that into that robbery, but I've stolen a lot of shit. And I don't want to just blame, you know, drug addiction, because that's really easy. You just say drug addiction or alcoholism. A lot of people want to just blame something for their behavior, but that's dumb because they still did those things, you know. It's like when Jesus was trying to explain, you know, like anything that you put in your body is not bad. It's like your intentions, because God knows your heart. So I think that if you appreciate what you do, if you appreciate all these things that you have, you know, like even stuff in like the modern world, like all this technology, you know, there are plenty of people that have a smartphone or a laptop or even like an Apple Watch or whatever, and they like appreciate it and they don't overuse it and they don't, you know, take it for granted. I'm not talking about those people, but those people are very few and far between. The vast amount of people that don't appreciate anything that they have, and they don't appreciate modern society, they don't appreciate Western civilization and all of the conveniences that we have. They don't give a fuck about other people not having those same conveniences, you know, like everybody makes everything about them. Especially with the news stories too. Yeah, because like that's the way that you can like pretend that you're feeling something for somebody else, but it's really just about you because you're crazy. I know, because I've done it, but like it's a shameful thing. Like when you have real empathy, you don't want to talk about it. It's not like an enjoyable emotion. It's like if you're a victim, you don't want people to know that you're a victim. But when you have actual empathy, like it's not something that you like want to put on a poster, you know. It's just not something you want to put in a you know, a hashtag. And it just showcases like how people don't actually care about anything. See, I appreciate my air conditioner right now because it's really motherfucking hot in this car. But I have an air conditioner, so it's not as hot as it was. We're very lucky for this air conditioner. We're lucky that we have it. We're blessed. And for a lot of people to say, well, God didn't invent that air conditioner. Well, God invented the person that did, homie. A lot of people get cocky. I mean, I really think a lot of these things that have been invented, you know, like when Thomas Edison came up with the light bulb, God put that idea in his head. Divine intervention. There are many forms of it. You should watch the movie Pulp Fiction if you want clarification, because that movie is probably the best example of how you can find God anywhere. You could be a total shithead and you can still find God. You can be a total shithead and find God and change your life and walk with the Lord. You can do that. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody, man. Like I said, thief. It was fun to steal shit though. I think about that now and it makes me sick to my stomach. Like, I think about going into like a Walmart and just walking out with something and it like makes me nauseous thinking about that shit. And it doesn't just make me nauseous like, oh, the paranoia of getting caught. It's like just the whole thing. Just the whole thing, like thinking that I can do that and get away with it. It's like I think back on how many times I did that shit and it's insane. But I feel like that's what I owe to the world. Like to telling myself, telling the world, right before it all completely disappears. I mean, really, like, what have you got to lose, man? God, I can't believe that it just made me leave. Hey, this has happened before, though. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's right. If you missed the last video, I got sent home from work because I'm 30 minutes late. I mean, it's understandable. Nobody has to explain to me why. I get it. I'm the most apunctual person you'll ever meet. And at some point, you have to discipline me. I mean, this is what the last manager did, and it worked. She just took me off the schedule. She's like, if you're not going to show up on time, I'm not going to schedule you. And that fucking worked because I wanted my hours. And the only way, it's weird. You have structure and discipline in your life, but it is nothing like the kind of structure and discipline that everybody else has. Right? Are you sure about that though? Because I feel like, the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I have to disagree. Like, do I really have structure or discipline at all? Well, not when it comes to time. With time, you lack both of those things. I'm saying with other things you have that. Somewhat. Well, let's just say you attempted structure and discipline, and it might fall apart, but at least you make the attempt. A lot of people don't even make that attempt at all, so you should at least pat yourself on the back for that. Okay, there you go. We only get 3 pats, maybe 4. I don't know. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Anyway. Yeah, I have to go home. Cause yeah, my manager's trying to make a point with me. And I understand. It's a point that I should have taken more seriously a long time ago, but he just got the franchise. So I think that's why he just doesn't want to put up with it anymore. And I understand. Like I said, I'm not offended. I'm not offended when other people don't want to put up with my shit. I was actually talking to myself about that on the way to work. I was explaining how mental illness is really annoying because it's just a bunch of extra boxes, and a lot of people don't want to deal with all that shit, you know? Most people just have 1 or 2 extra boxes. Well, we have about 25 to 50 extra boxes. And so we have all those that we're sorting through on a pretty regular basis. And a lot of people, you know, they don't understand what we're doing. They're like, why do you have all these boxes? And you're like, it's just, you know, stuff in my head that I gotta, you know, understand. And, you know, people that don't have to deal with that, they don't have to, you know, they don't have to worry about that. That's not something on their plate. So they can't fathom, like, why you have this whole buffet and they just have the one plate. And a lot of times they can't even see the buffet because it's an invisible buffet. Oh my God. I feel like your AC actually doesn't work. Because it's blowing air, but it's not cool air. Let's see. Whatever. I might just be wearing way too many clothes. Because that's typically the case. Because I'm a very small person, and so we get cold really easily, so we always have extra clothes. But anyway. Yeah, so tonight's the internet night. It's mainly Sunday nights. We take breaks from the internet because we don't want to go on the internet. It makes us depressed. It's like all these people tell me about stuff that's happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't been watching the news or haven't been paying attention. And they're like, oh yeah, this shooting happened. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like the same shooting as all the other ones. So I like just don't even give a fuck. But it's not because I don't give a fuck about human life. It's because, like, I'm totally desensitized to everything that they talk about because most of it's bullshit, and they might get like a couple of details right, but the majority of it's a bunch of bullshit. So yeah, but yeah, tonight's the internet night, and I don't want to do it, but I try to kill as many birds with one stone as possible. So not just 2, I kill up to 10. And I put up a bunch of videos, but I also, you know, look up what's going on in the world, and I also read articles, and I look up other stuff that I've been meaning to look up on the internet, you know, useful stuff that would better me and my psychological well-being. You know, like, I look up a lot of stuff on psychology. I look up a lot of stuff on pot. I look up a lot of stuff on all kinds of subjects, actually, because they usually pertain to, you know, what I'm looking up about the world, you know, whatever's going on with the world. Usually something about, you know, and we have to be quiet about this stuff, you know. Can't let hear. So don't you love censorship? Isn't it so much fun? I love it. I love censorship. It actually is kind of fun, you know, because it at least makes a person more creative. At least, like, I like to think that. It makes creative people even more creative and uncreative people even more uncreative. You know, that's really what everything does, honestly, whether it's a good thing for society or a bad thing for society. But people that have a glass half full, well, I don't even want to say that. We just look at the damn glass and we say, that is half a glass of milk. It's not half full, it's not half empty, it's just a half glass of milk. And we don't have to see it positively or negatively. So many people want to pretend that they're uppy or downy, but it's fucking annoying because they're both sides are, you know, they both have an argument. True that. Anyway. Yeah, I gotta get this fucking punctuality shit figured out. Or I gotta do comedy or some shit. I have actually been working on my comedy, though. I've been putting shit into piles. You guys ever do that? Well, you have to do that if you have spielness. Everything's in a pile. That would be hilarious if you just, like, took all that shit on stage. You're like, this is my pile. This is my pile on thoughts about the world. This is my pile on thoughts about myself. This is my pile on thoughts about God. Because that is how I've differentiated these things that I think are important, that I need to say. And I'm probably going to work on those things a little bit. Try to make them better. Try to make them more listenable. If that makes any sense. But it's really important that you try to say things in the best possible way so that you can get as many people to understand you as possible. You know? That's what concerns me about my comedy, that I won't do it in a way that will be effective. Well, you've made a lot of people laugh and you made some people cry, so I would say you're pretty effective. Yes. Very effective. Anyway, I'm gonna call my friend, see what's going on. Because I've been talking for like 40 minutes. Something like that. Yes. Yes. Has it really been 40 minutes, though? I know it's at least been 30 minutes. Because this is almost 20 minutes, and the other video was like... I don't know how long it was, but I know it was longer than 10 minutes. To a luau. I always wanted to go to Hawaii. You just like the beach. I do. I love the fucking beach. Who doesn't love the beach? Stupid ass people, that's who. I mean, I love the beach because I'm reminded of God's existence. Because I think of the ocean as like, that's so vast, that's so profound, that's so magnanimous. It's crazy that people don't believe in God. The ocean exists, right? The ocean can swallow you up. The ocean's so big and bold. Yeah, I mean, ocean really does fuck people up. You see them hurricanes? Yeah, so a lot of people believe in a weather machine. I don't know, man. Anything's possible. We talk about conspiracies. It's like, how can you not believe in conspiracies? If you can believe in God, you can believe in any conspiracy. Not to say that, like, God's a conspiracy, but I feel like you get the point. You're open to ideas. You're open to things being crazy. You're open to things being really, really positive or really, really negative, you know? You're open to that. A lot of people that are
more secular, I feel like I'm not saying that they're wrong because they're terrible people or anything. I think that they're wrong because they're not open. I mean, I still have doubts about God all the damn time. I mean, well, it used to be way worse before. I have way more faith now than I ever did. But I feel like my convictions are pretty strong because of everything that I've seen, everything that I've been part of, you know. Signs that I've received. Stuff that I read in the Bible that's just so blatantly obvious because I see it everywhere. I see it in the world. I see it in people's behavior. I see it in our growing acceptance and tolerance of things that we should have never accepted or tolerated. No way. You know? I feel like there's just so much about this that, you know, yeah, this world's on its way out because of these things, you know, that we don't want to talk about, that we get called names for talking about. But, anyway, I've definitely had my doubts, though. But God has definitely pushed through, so fuck yeah, Jesus Christ. We call him JC Dollar. You know, like JC Penny? You rich in heaven? You're so fucking stupid. I am. I'm a total retard. I'm a retard. Anyway, if people think that I'm against retards, you're full of shit. I love talking to mentally challenged people. They're way more interesting than people that are politically challenged, okay? And politically challenged people, it's like they voluntarily choose to be retarded. Honestly, though, I think it's not just retardation. I think it's like a bad relationship that a lot of people have with their families. And so I was thinking about that because, like, everybody I work with is, like, really tight. We're, like, siblings. And it's like everything resembles that family unit. So a lot of people that don't have that, if they didn't have a good example of that growing up, they'll have that in other aspects of their life. And so, like, I can kind of understand, like, why people want that. They want a sense of community. And that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you want a sense of community in place of a family unit, if you want to discourage people from having families or doing the nuclear thing, people are very opposed to that these days. It's like they're fine with the idea of a family as long as, like, this multicultural shit, you know, like, and whatever. I'm not one to knock somebody else's upbringing because I don't know how you grew up, and I don't know, like, you know, if you had two dads that still fucking worked out and you felt like your parents still loved you and nothing bad happened. They're like, I don't really understand, like, what that big of a deal is, but it's like there are all these other problems that can ensue from that acceptance. And, like, okay, well, I guess what it boils down to is just, I don't know. It's like I'd like to believe in certain things, but I'm wondering if, like, even those things fail. Because it's stupid to put your faith in, like, ideas. Like, you need to put your faith in God because God's not just an idea, he's an actuality, you know? And I think that that's what a lot of people, they want God to be an idea and they want all these other things to be actualities. But you can disagree with me on that. I really don't give a shit. Anyway, I'm going to check on my friend. Bye.